Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Members of Parliament, my fellow Fijians. I rise today to support the motion moved by the Honourable Prime Minister to thank His Excellency, the President, for his inspiring address in the House. But first, what a month March has been already, a month of celebrations. A happy Chinese New Year of the Fire Horse, happy Holi, Ramadan Mubarak, happy Father's Day to all our fathers, of course a happy International Women's Day to all women in Fiji and around the world. Honourable Speaker, I wish to especially acknowledge our women who often carry the burden of care in our homes and in our families and in our societies. Our mothers, our grandmothers, women who look after children, look after the elderly, look after people living with disabilities, often not thanked, but yet contributing very much to our fabric of society, and I acknowledge them. I also acknowledge our women in the informal economy, our housekeepers, our nannies, our caregivers, Honourable Speaker. Often unheard, they may not have titles or visible, but yet the same, I acknowledge the very important work that they do. Honourable Speaker, in his address, His Excellency reminds us that Fiji must move forward guided by three very powerful principles: unity in diversity, sustainability and resilience, integrity and good governance. These are simply not principles for speeches, but they are principles for action. They want leadership, our people want leadership that improves their lives, that speak truth, and a future that is safer, fairer, and more secure for their children. Today, Honourable Speaker, I wish to focus on two issues that affect every Fijian family: information, what we believe, and the environment, how we live. Both shape Fiji. Honourable Speaker, we are now living in a time where information moves faster than ever before. A rumor can travel across the country in minutes. A fake image can look real. A voice generated by artificial intelligence can sound like a real person. Technology is powerful, but like all power, it can be used for good or for harm. Around the world, governments and societies are grappling with the growing challenge of misinformation and disinformation. Honourable Speaker, we saw this clearly during the cyclone the last couple of weeks. While families were trying to find safety and reliable updates, false announcements began circulating online. One post falsely claimed that civil service offices had been closed because of the cyclone, and that civil servants did not have to go to work. It looked official, it looked real, but it was completely false. That is why the Ministry of Information works day and night to verify information and correct false reports. But, Honourable Speaker, government cannot do this alone, because today, every person with a smartphone is a publisher, a detective, a coach, a lawyer, a psychologist, and the list goes on. Anyone can post, anyone can share, anyone can start a story. Sometimes these stories are shared before they are even verified. Sometimes people record videos before helping those in need. Sometimes rumors are shared simply to gain likes, followers, or attention. Sometimes crimes are committed within minutes, as private content is shared across Fiji without consent, or TikTok videos go viral of personal attacks using vulgar words. But, Honorable Speaker, a single post can damage a reputation. It can cause termination of employment. A single rumor can create panic. It can hurt people. It can break up families. A single share can commit a crime. A single lie can divide a nation. That is why I want to repeat the very pertinent message by His Excellency, the President, when he referred to the philosopher Socrates. To every Fijian, when you receive information, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Endi nambeka? Is there evidence of the truth of the information? Is it good? Ebinaka? Will it foster goodwill or cause more harm? Is it useful? Eanga? Will it be of benefit or will it just create drama? His Excellency called on leaders, media organizations, and citizens to exercise responsibility, discernment, and integrity in sharing information so that public discourse strengthens unity. This responsibility, Honorable Speaker, becomes even more important as Fiji approaches the local government elections than the national elections, as Fiji undertakes constitutional review, as Fiji is undergoing the process of truth and reconciliation. Around the world, misinformation increases during election periods. But democracy cannot thrive when truth is ignored. It must be built on facts, on respect, and responsible debate. Later this month, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Information will host Fiji's first ever Government Communications Conference. The theme is simple but powerful: coordinate, collaborate, elevate. At this conference, we will launch the Government Communications Guidebook and a new national communications framework called Sautu. The word Sautu in Fijian represents peace, harmony, and well-being. And that is exactly what we want our information environment to promote. Not confusion, not division, but truth, unity, and responsible dialogue. Honorable Speaker, I wish to acknowledge our partnership with our government communication services of the UK, who have been working with us for a number of years. We've yet to sign the MOU and the renewal of this relationship, but I acknowledge their support in this conference that we will be hosting, and also in the development of this, this communications guidebook called Sautu. And I acknowledge my colleagues who are here from GCSI today in the chambers, as well as our Permanent Secretary for Information, Esethananda Kuitavuki. And I thank her and her leadership in assisting me, Honorable Speaker, as we move forward to improve the information environment here in Fiji. Honorable Speaker, while information shapes what our people believe, the environment shapes how people live and survive. As we know, climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is here. Our farmers face unpredictable seasons. Our communities face flooding. Our coastlines face erosion. And some villages are now faced with the painful decision of relocation. Despite contributing only a tiny fraction of global emissions, Fiji faces some of the most severe impacts. But we need to be clear, Honorable Speaker, climate change is not just an environmental issue. It is an economic issue, it is a development issue, and I thank my colleagues who have acknowledged and are working on this issue of climate change and the impacts of climate change even within their own line ministries. For a small nation like Fiji, it is a survival issue. But Fiji is not standing still. Fiji is leading. I wish to acknowledge the great work that has been set by my predecessor, the Honorable Moses Mbulitabu. Thank you for the work in leading the ministry and the hard work you've put in the last year, and I can only hope to be able to fill the big shoes that he has left behind, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, more than 75% of the Climate Change Act is already in force, ensuring that climate considerations are integrated across all government policies and planning. Honorable Speaker, I am proud to inform this House that our Pacific leaders have supported Fiji's proposal to host the pre-COP meeting ahead of Climate COP31. This is a significant moment in our nation. I thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his leadership in securing this auspicious event. I acknowledge the hard work of our Permanent Secretary and the Ministry team in preparing and submitting the proposal. I also thank our Pacific brothers and sisters for placing their confidence in Fiji to host such an important event. Once approved by Cabinet, this event will bring together not just our Pacific leaders, but global leaders as well, as we prepare our united voice as a Blue Pacific to COP31 in Turkey. I acknowledge the support of the Government of Australia as the chair leading the negotiations at COP31 in advancing this initiative. I'd also like to acknowledge the leadership of the former Prime Minister, Frank Bainimarama, who served as president of COP23, laying the foundation for Fiji's continued leadership in global climate action. Honorable Speaker, our ministry has completed the review of Fiji's litter laws, which will soon be brought to Parliament. The proposed amendments will increase penalties for littering, criminalize illegal dumping by corporations, businesses, and strengthen enforcement mechanisms. I seek the support of our colleagues in this House to pass these changes, because a cleaner Fiji benefits everyone. Honorable Speaker, we are also seeing encouraging progress through initiatives that promote recycling and responsible waste management. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for your immense support for the VACA Forum, and I thank the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Leader of Opposition and colleagues who will be attending in great numbers on Monday. Honorable Speaker, this VACA Forum brings together our waste recyclers, grassroots waste recyclers, Honorable Speaker. They've come as far as Taveuni, Lambasa, and other maritime areas to be here for the next few days for the VACA Forum. And I thank the Pacific Recycling Facility Foundation that are hosting along with our ministry. I also wish to acknowledge the Return and Earn initiative, which is in partnership with the Ministry for Local Government, where several municipal councils are open to receiving plastic bottles to be recycled at their centers for 5 cents a bottle, where the community can actually earn some money while keeping Fiji clean and free of litter. Honorable Speaker, these initiatives help reduce litter, encourage recycling, and create some small income opportunities for families. I also acknowledge Trash Boom Pacific, which I know some of you have seen online, where they're collecting, this particular device is collecting trash in the Namukalo Creek as well as rivers around the country. The ministry has secured 8 more trash booms that we will be installing in the coming weeks around the country as well. Honorable Speaker, as Pacific people, the ocean is our identity. It feeds us, connects us, and it sustains our economy. That is why Fiji supports the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of the Ocean of Peace. This vision becomes even more important as we prepare for the first ever Conference of Parties, or COP, under the BB&J agreement, expected to be in early 2027. This agreement represents a historic step forward in protecting biodiversity on the high seas, areas beyond our own national jurisdiction. As custodians of the Blue Pacific, Fiji will continue to advocate for strong ocean protection, sustainable fisheries, and responsible stewardship of our marine resources. Honourable Speaker, to conclude, the message from His Excellency the President is clear. Fiji's future depends on truth in our information, integrity in our leadership, and sustainability in our development. We need to move forward together, united in diversity, guided by integrity, and committed to a resilient and sustainable Fiji. And to Honourable Pravin Bala and his proposal for a government of national unity, I say to him, we are already doing it. The coalition government is a coalition of political parties, as well as the G11 who've come over to join government, and you are most welcome, Honourable Bala, to join us as well. On that note, Vinakabakalebu, Honourable Speaker, Dhanyabad, Fayaxia, and God bless Fiji.